Hello everybody, my name is Matt Ligate and welcome to session 1 of 8 different tutorials on how to use Ableton for DJing and sampling and bits and bobs for doing stuff live and for recording mixes. So this is actually part of an 8-week, this is for an 8-week course that we're running called Future is Ours. But don't worry, it kind of stands alone. Even if you can't come to the course, you can watch these videos and hopefully they'll make a little bit of sense to get you going. So without further ado, let's get stuck right in. So let's get a nice clean canvas here. So what you're looking at just now is the session view in Ableton. So you might see some different things when you first open up Ableton. You might see this open, for example. If you want to close that down just to avoid distractions, we're not using anything in here just now. You can just go to this arrow at the top. Not arrow, what is it? Is it a triangle? Is it an arrow? Who knows? Click that down, get it away. And so all I've loaded in is 2 audio channels. You might have an audio channel and a MIDI channel. If you have your MIDI channel, you can just highlight it and you can press delete. Or if you don't, then all the better. If you need to add in another audio channel, you need to right click here, insert audio track, or else shortcut you can do your Apple T. Sweet. So for now we only need 2 audio channels, nice and simple. So let's just get fired right into some tunage. So this, I'm going to mainly focus this on kind of house and kind of techno type music. Simply, well, A, because I think it's good, but don't worry if you don't. It's more just because because the beats are nice and simple. It helps illustrate some of what we're going to be doing nice and simply. You can then extrapolate that to any kind of music you like, more complex or whatever else. So we've loaded in our first track. You can double click on it if it doesn't show up, but down here we have our wave file. This is what the tune looks like in visual representation. Okay, so let's just play it. So we're going to play up here. Here's a wee play button. These are all stop buttons. There's a nice wee little play button. Is it an arrow? Is it a play button? Is it a triangle? Nobody knows. Cool. Nice groovy start. So first things we want to do in a nice new track is we're going to go up here where the numbers are, and when we go up here we can see a magnifying glass. That's our zoom. So we're going to click with one finger, and with the other finger we're going to move down, which will help us zoom it in. And by the way, make sure you hover over the number or the area that you want to zoom in on. So I want to go to the very first beat. That's what I'm trying to aim at. So I'm going over number 1. I'm clicking, and then I'm scrolling with my other finger. I'm scrolling down. You can move it left and right. You can move it up and down, in and out, left, right, up, down. Okay, so pretty straightforward. So we're quite lucky here because it looks like Ableton has done most of the work for us. It has set this little yellow checkpoint, this wee marker, is nicely sitting at the start of the first beat. If it wasn't, so let's just pretend it wasn't. Let's say it was over here, or let's say it doesn't exist. Let's get rid of it. Oh, can't get rid of it. Okay. Well, so imagine I wanted to set this as the first beat here. I would find the start of the first beat, which is now here. I would hover above it, right click, set 1 1 1 here. Okay, so now we have set the song to start at the first beat. So when I press here, yeah, nice. So it starts the first beat. That's the first point. You got to make sure you're starting from the start. Seems obvious, but trust me, it can cause havoc if you don't start the track at the right point. If you're slightly out, or you're starting on a snare rather than the kick drum, for example, the next bit we're going to do gets impossibly complex and it can confuse the hell out of you. So if you ever get totally stuck, you just go back to 1-1 and make sure it's starting at the very start of where you want the track to start. It doesn't have to be in the first beat, by the way. You might want to start the track at the breakdown, for example, or after the breakdown. So let's say we wanted to do that. How did I know that this was a breakdown, by the way? As you see, it's because here, nice and fat, all blacked out, and then it kind of drops out here. So I can interpret that to mean that the kick drum drops out round about here. So let's zoom in at 65. I'm going to guess that's the start of my breakdown. We can test it and find out by hovering until I see the play. Yeah. So let's say I want to start the track there. So I can stop. I can stop by pressing spacebar. Stop the spacebar. So again, if I want to start 1-1 there, right click, start 1-1. Oops. Start 1-1-1 here. So now, when I press start, LD. So it starts there, okay? So let's go back. We'll set 1-1-1 back at the beginning. Nice. So, next job, we want to make sure that the beats, that the whole song is in sync, is tied to what's called the grid. So this is Ableton's warp drive. Sounds awfully Star Trek, and it is awfully Star Trek. It's amazing. It's absolutely insanely powerful. Basically, when you load this track in, Ableton is analysing the track and it's processing it. It's putting it onto a grid and it's doing its best to try and mark each beat to the grid. But it's not always perfect. So what we need to do is we need to just assist Ableton a little bit and double check its homework. And so how we do that is we want to zoom in again. So let's go back to the first bar. So let's follow these kick drums. I know these are kick drums because, well, I can listen. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I can see them. They're nice, big and fat compared to the rest. So what I want to check is that each of these is in line with the numbers above on the grid. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4 in one bar. So between 1 and 2 is a bar, and so there's 4 beats in a bar in this case, because it's a 4/4 track. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, all quite tight, kind of to the beat, looking good. So let's zoom out. Oh, by the way, I can double click up here on the zoom, and it zooms out to full. Let's now try. Will we zoom in? Let's try 33. How are we looking? 33. Ooh, it's pretty close. Tighten up a wee tiny touch. What do you think? Maybe that way? A little bit? Maybe just leave it there. Now let's try fast forward a little bit more. 97. How you doing? Oh, falling off a little bit here. Okay, so this is where it's interesting. So the beat starts roughly around about here, where the waveform starts to change. By the way, if anyone's wondering why there's 2 identical images here, it's because this is a stereo track. So this is your left and this is your right. If it's a mono track, you would just have the one waveform. So that's all. That's the only reason why you can see identical squiggles here. So anyway, back to here. We're going to find the start of our kick drum, which is round about here. Ableton's assuming it's round about here. I think it's round about here. I'm going to double click just on the bar here, set one of those little yellow markers, and then I'm going to click on that yellow marker, and I'm going to drag it to the bar, to the grid, which is 97 in this case. Sounding good? Zoom back out. Now let's double check. Let's try 129. How are we looking? Again, falling off a little bit. So let's click it here. You can click it there, it doesn't matter. As long as the start of the beat is round about, it doesn't have to be precise, but round about the start of the bar, start of the grid. 77. Let's have a look. Same again. That one's looking nice. Let's pull it forward a wee touch. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's try 209. Yeah, pretty close. Bring it in a wee touch. Yeah. Okay. And right at the end of the track, just in case I ever play it to the end, yeah, on the bar. Bang on. Cool, so in this track, we've only done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, did 7 checks, 7 little checkpoints, little markers that we set, just to make sure the more complex the track, or the worse Ableton does at warping your track, the more you'll have to check, the more checkpoints you'll have to make. Now the reason why these ones are yellow, whereas these aren't, or if you do here, if you hover over it, it's grey. Even you can click on it when it's grey, and you can still move it about. Oops. Sometimes. Okay, but the reason why it's yellow is because when it turns yellow, it locks it into place. So when it's locked, it means I can stretch this on this side, and it will change everything to the left until the last checkpoint. Turn that, but it won't touch here forward. And vice versa, if I do it this side, I can mess around with this bar, stretch it, which will sound really weird. But notice, before that, it didn't affect it. It's actually quite cool. You can do some cool effects with it, but for now, don't worry about that. The reason why I'm showing you that is just to show the reason why they're yellow. They're basically locked on the grid. They're not going to move. Everything that's not locked, everything that's not got a yellow marker, is open to it'll move in relativity to the yellow marks. Hope that makes sense. So our first track is, I would say, pretty good to go. Let's load on another one. Let's have a look. What we'll go for. What does this one sound like? Yep. Let's try it. So again, loaded it in, double click, zoom into my first bar. I'm going to do this really fast this time. Set my 1-1, it's already set, but just for practice, do it again. Set 1-1 here, deal. Right, double click, zoom out into 17. Let's try 17. How we looking? Yes, bang on the bar, nice. Touched it forward a wee touch there. Let's try 97, 99 even. Why not? Okay, a little bit out. Pull it forward. Let's try 209. Yeah, you do it really rough. Yeah, on the bar. Okay, I would say that's pretty close. Yeah, nice and tight. So that was super quick, wasn't it? That's how fast you can do it when you get used to doing hundreds of these at a time. So let's play our first track. And let's zoom it in. Let's play it round about here. So at the end of this breakdown, I want to bring in my other track, my new track. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now 2 tracks playing at once. Going down here a wee bit. Don't know if you can hear that, but we've mixed our first tracks together. If you don't believe me, there's one track. We can zoom in, we can check. Yeah, nice and tight. And over here. One retouch. And yeah. Pretty tight. So there you go, we've mixed our first 2 tracks together. Those 2 tracks will play in time the whole way through with each other, and then you can just finalise. So while they're playing together, you want to cut one out. For now, you can just press stop, or else slowly fade the volume out. Nice. So that was our first tutorial. I hope that made a little bit of sense to you. That's what we covered in last week's workshop. Tomorrow we are going to continue with adding some effects. We're going to start making our first little mix, 6-track mix. It'll be 20-minute mega mix. together we can start tweaking things, adding in fades and bits and bobs. So I hope that was fun, and I shall see you next time.
There's nothing more. There's nothing